Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. My name is Gene Quinn. We have a conversation about AI and patent workflows here for you. Today, we have not yet started. We're going to give folks a minute to get into the room here. I'm just trying to fill the silence so that you can know that your speakers are working, or maybe they're not working. If you see my lips moving and don't hear anything, that would be a clue that your speakers are not working. But we're going to get going here momentarily. And tremendous interest in this, and our numbers are growing pretty rapidly here. Starting to level off a little bit. We could probably get going. I'm sure we'll get more people to join us as we start, but welcome, everybody. My name is Gene Quinn. Thank you for joining us here today for this webinar. It's a masterclass on AI prompt engineering for patent workflows. We've got a full slate of things to go through with you. We're going to show you actually how to do this in the tool here in Solve Intelligence tool. Going to give you some feedback. We've got the Solve Intelligence here. We have a attorney here to answer your questions, and we also have somebody in the chat. If you have very specific questions, please feel free to use the chat feature, and please feel free to chat amongst yourselves. If you have a question for the panel that you would like addressed, you can put that in the Q&A. I'll monitor the Q&A, and I'll also be kind of directing today and put up polls, which I'll put up here momentarily. We've got a few poll questions right off the top, just to give us an idea about who you are and what your level of experience is. But while I load the first poll question, Renee, how about you introduce the speakers?
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. We're happy to have you here today. So on our panel, we have Johnathon Webb. He's a patent attorney and partner at Faegre Drinker, where he works closely with clients to develop and execute smart IP strategies. His practice spans portfolio analysis, freedom to operate, and patentability opinions, validity and infringement evaluations, and litigation support, along with U.S. and international patent prosecution. Next, we have Justin Doop. He is the founding member and general counsel at Solve Intelligence and a practicing U.S. patent attorney. He previously practiced at Quarles and Brady, where he managed global patent portfolios and advised on multi-million-dollar technology launches. Justin holds degrees in chemical engineering and a law degree from University of Wisconsin in Georgetown. Next, we have Chris Parsonson. He's the founder and CEO at Solve Intelligence, where he leads patent attorneys, AI researchers, and engineers building a leading AI platform for patent professionals. He holds a PhD in AI, has published extensively, and previously worked at organizations including Dyson and the Alan Turing Institute. Solve is backed by major investors and used by hundreds of IP teams worldwide. And last but not least, we have Gene Quinn. He's a patent attorney and one of the most respected voices in patent law and innovation policy. He founded the widely recognized as a leading resource in IP community IPWatchdog in 1999. He is known for his deep expertise in software patentability and U.S. patent practice and has been named multiple times among the 50 IP influencers, as well as one of the top world's IP strategists. So you're in great hands with this panel. Back to you, Gene.
Great. Thanks a lot, Renee. And thank you all again for joining us here today. I just published the first poll so our panelists can see. We have a very experienced audience here today, which is great. So we're going to roll up our sleeves here and get started. So what I'd like to do first is go to Johnathon here, and we're going to ask Johnathon for his big picture thoughts on using AI tools as part of your patent workflow. Johnathon, where do you want to start the conversation today?
Yeah, I would start with just generally why our firm is so interested in AI, both for firm practicing attorneys and for attorneys that work in-house. There's a lot of pressure to deliver both to clients and to business units that you're working with on a shortened timeline. Budgets are decreasing for a lot of patent work. In firms, rates are trending upward. So it's just making a lot less time to do similar activities that have happened in the past. So AI is one of the promising tools that helps us to get rid of some of the administrative, some of the uh, long, long tasks that take up a lot of the time for both in-house and law firm attorneys. So we are personally at our firm turning to a lot of AI solutions to help us with these tasks. And IP is one of those areas that you need a very specific tool to do that, not only for the subject matter, but also protection of data that's put into the AI tools. So I think for us, it's very much a question of how do we continue to exist in an environment with lowered budgets, higher billing rates, and higher pressure to really deliver on the work that we have in front of us.
Great, excellent. That's a good place to start. I think it does. It's AI is kind of level setting here, and by that, what I mean is there are going to be the people who are using it that are going to drive the industry, I think, to more efficiency and speed and quality, and those people who are later to the game or not using it, I think, are going to be struggling to catch up. And I just published this next poll question here. So maybe not surprisingly, probably given how we advertise for this particular webinar, but a heavy patent prosecution audience here, patent application and office action drafting. We have one more general question that I will ask you all just for background purposes so that we continue to get to know you in the audience as I now kick it over to Chris. Chris is going to go through and do a little bit. He has a bit of a PowerPoint presentation. It won't take too awful long, and then we'll go from there and go into the demo. And again, if you have any questions along the way, please use the chat feature or use the chat feature to chat amongst yourselves and use the Q&A feature for me to feed questions to the panel. But Chris, go ahead.
Lovely. Well, thank you, Gene, and thank you everyone for taking the time to join this webinar. So as was mentioned at the beginning, I'm Chris. I'm the founder and CEO here at Solve, and my background is I did a PhD in AI. So I've spent many years thinking about AI systems and building them, and the reason why I'm so excited about AI today is what's happened with large language models. And large language models have been a huge unlock for everyone in the world to be able to leverage AI for highly valuable knowledge work, such as patent workflows. But the key thing that enables experts to realize the value of AI is this concept of prompt engineering. So today, what we're going to do is first, I'm going to give an overview of what an AI model is, just so we have that basic understanding. Then we're going to use that basic understanding to give a summary of the state of the art in prompt engineering techniques. And we're going to boil that down to 6 key tips for prompting AI models. And then I'm going to try and go through those first 2 parts fairly quickly, because then we'll get to the exciting part, which is handing over to Justin to give a quick overview of our own platform here at Solve and how you can actually apply some of those prompt engineering techniques to patent workflows inside Solve Intelligence. So firstly, just to set the scene, I mean, this won't be a controversial slide, but AI is going to have a significant impact over the legal profession over the next 5 years. There's been several studies recently that came out from Thomson Reuters showing that 80% of legal professionals believe that AI will have a high or transformational impact on their work over the next 5 years. 78% believe that AI will be a force for good in the profession. And 53% of the people surveyed are saying that they're already seeing a return on investment with AI. And what we're seeing today is that already legal professionals that are using AI are dramatically outperforming their counterparts that are not. So there was a recent study with BCG and Spellbook showing that it's not just efficiency gains, but actually also quality gains. So in this test that they did, they found that lawyers that were using AI were scored 94% accuracy versus 85% with those who didn't. They were seeing 10 to 100x or even greater speed ups on certain tasks. And across all these tasks that they set lawyers doing, they saw 81% median time saving. So AI is already enabling lawyers to provide very efficient, but also high quality service. And that's why we're seeing so much growth in the legal tech space. If we just look at our own software here at Solve, we've seen over a 500% increase in the number of IP teams and IP professionals using Solve Intelligence for their patent workflows in 2025. And today we're now selling our software to over 400 IP teams across 6 continents. So AI adoption is rapidly increasing. But what we're seeing on the ground here at Solve, and this is also now coming out in these studies by Thomson Reuters and MIT, is that the key enabler that enables legal professionals to actually get a return on investment with AI is having knowledge about how AI works and how to use it. So in these studies by Thomson Reuters and MIT, it's found that the organizations where practitioners have good or expert knowledge of AI have a 2.8x, so basically 3 times more likelihood of realizing the benefits of their organization. If you use a certain technique for prompting, and we're going to get into what this is, but a technique called chain of thought prompting, you can actually increase the accuracy of these AI models by 2x. And there was a study done by MIT recently that found that everyone's talking about the performance of AI models improving over time, and they are improving, but actually 50% of the AI performance improvements are coming from prompt optimization. So the reason that we're here today and we're giving this particular webinar is that, one, if AI is the most important trend in legal over the next 5 years, and two, if prompt engineering is the biggest unlock or biggest enabler of realizing the AI ROI, then how to prompt engineer AI systems is the most important skill for legal professionals to be learning in 2026. Very quickly, quick overview, what is an AI model? Most of the time when we're talking about AI, we're referring to neural network architectures. And you can think about neural networks as basically being a bunch of numbers or so-called model parameters that take some input, convert the input into a set of numbers, perform some computation on that input, and then produce an output. So neural networks or AI models are a bunch of numbers that transform some input into some output. So for example, you can take a prior art document, you can put it into an AI model, and you can output a summary. So that's what an AI model is. Now, there are 2 ways that you can customize or optimize the output of an AI model. Either you can change the thing you're putting into the AI model, or you can change the actual AI model itself. You can adjust those numbers or model parameters of the AI model. So prompt engineering is what we refer to when we're adjusting the inputs in order to improve the output. And then fine-tuning the model is what we refer to as the process of adjusting the numbers of the AI model such that we're improving the output. For legal professionals that are looking to get the most out of AI systems, prompt engineering is really the magic sauce that lets you customize and control the AI model. There are many, many advantages to prompt engineering in order to customize the AI over fine-tuning. It's faster, it's lower cost, it doesn't require going out and hiring lots of machine learning PhDs and so on. You don't need as much training data. One of the biggest advantages is that you can actually leverage the foundational models, which are the most powerful models. They require tens of thousands of GPUs. You don't necessarily want to be buying tens of thousands of GPUs. It's much better, so long as you meet all of the security and confidentiality requirements, it's much better to be able to leverage those foundational models. And you can get basically 90%, or if you're using foundation models, perhaps even greater value from prompt engineering with just 1% of the effort compared to fine-tuning. So prompt engineering is absolutely crucial here. So with that quick overview of AI, I'll now jump into the 6 tips that we have and that we use at Solve and that we're always training our customers on when they're starting to use AI. So the first tip, perhaps quite an obvious one, but is to be clear and direct when you're prompting AI models. So you should treat AI models like Solve as if they're a smart new employee, but with no context on your work. So firstly, you should be careful to state exactly what it is that you want. And you should not be assuming that Solve is going to infer what you want. Secondly, you should provide Solve with the context of the tasks. And it's useful to often give the purpose of the task. What are we at? Why are we doing what we're asking here? And then secondly, it's very useful if you can define the success criteria. We're going to get into how you can actually do that. But letting Solve know about what the purpose and the success criteria of the task can be very useful for improving the output quality. And then finally, if you're giving one big task, which actually could be broken down into several subtasks, it's very useful to give the AI numbered steps that it should go through when doing that task. And as a general heuristic or general test that you can use when you're evaluating your own prompts, as you can imagine, if you were to give your colleague this prompt without any context, and that's the crucial thing, no context, ask yourself, would they be confused by the instruction that you're giving? And if the answer is yes, then so might Solve, or so might the AI system. So on the left here, you can see an example of a vague prompt. Let's say we've got a patent and we want to summarize it. If you just told an AI model to go ahead and summarize the patent, it might be a quick and dirty prompt that you could use, but you're probably going to get generic output. It might be in the wrong format that you're not looking for. It might miss some key details. Maybe it's going to be too long, or maybe it's going to be too short. And the AI model hasn't been told what length it should be. So how would it know what length the summary should be? On the right-hand side here, you can see an example of a clear and direct prompt where we're first giving the task, which is to summarize the patent. Then we're giving the format that we want the summary to be output into 3 bullet points. we're giving the AI the context of the purpose. And in this case, we're saying it's for a licensing negotiation. And we're also even giving it the context. We're ultimately going to send this summary off to a non-technical executive. And so by doing this, you can ensure that you're getting consistent output that actually is adhering to the kinds of things that you want. So that's the first tip, is to be clear and direct in your prompts. Getting a little bit more sophisticated now, the second tip is to use these things called XML tags. So wrapping components of your prompt into XML tags to separate different sections of your prompt, so for example, in separating instructions from content, can massively help AI models like Solve parse complex prompts accurately. And what do we mean by XML tags? We just mean literally writing these open and closed brackets to distinguish different sections. So if you imagine that you had a set of instructions that you're giving the AI, and then you had a set of examples that you wanted to just paste into the prompt of what a good output looks like, it's very helpful if you put these XML tags, just open the XML tag, paste in your instructions, close the XML tag just by typing. Likewise with the instructions, that makes it much easier for the AI to be able to understand what you're talking about, and it prevents the AI getting confused between your instructions and different parts of the content. The other thing that this does is, and we're going to get to this in a moment, but it's very important for you to be maintaining these prompts for yourself for the future, so you can load in the prompts you've been working on, and also to share and collaborate on with your colleagues. And using these XML tags makes it much easier to edit, maintain, and reuse these prompts. So to give an example, on the left-hand side, you can see what an unstructured prompt without XML tags might look like. So here we're telling the AI to analyze this office action. We're saying, here's the document, and then this is just a placeholder. So imagine if you took a messy office action, you just copy pasted the text in there. And then within the same paragraph as your pasted text, we're telling the AI to list each rejection with its statutory basis and to identify cited prior art. So you can see, imagine if you were given this big block of text, it'd be quite difficult for you to parse the text, see the instruction, see the formatting, the output requirements, and to distinguish that from the actual document you're pasting in. Whereas on the right-hand side with the XML tags, we're actually just breaking down the prompt. So we're saying, okay, here's the document. We're then tagging in the document there into the context. We're using XML tags to show the AI exactly where our specific instructions are. So step 1, list each rejection. Step 2, identify the cited prior art. And then step 3, summarize the examiner's reasoning. And then finally, we're telling the AI exactly what format we want the output to be. So we're just making it much easier for the AI to parse, and that's going to massively improve your prompting and your AI output. Tip 3 is to use examples. So by examples, I mean examples of what it is that you're looking for with respect to the AI's output. So let's say that you had some task like draft a first independent claim. It can be very useful for you to give 2 to 5 examples of what you consider to be a good quality claim of the kind that you're looking for. You can massively improve both the consistency and the accuracy of the AI. So you should show the AI exactly what format and style you want the output to be in. And it's also very useful for you to include difficult edge cases, handling of tricky scenarios. That could be very useful for guiding AI to understand what kind of thing you're looking for. And of course, you should then be wrapping those examples inside XML tags. So again, giving some of our examples, on the left-hand side, you can see that we're not using any examples. We're telling the AI to extract the key features from this claim and to format them into a list, and then we're inserting the claim. And the problem is that we're now going to get inconsistent output. Sometimes we're going to get the output as a paragraph, we're going to get a numbered list and so on. So it's going to be inconsistent. Versus on the right-hand side, we're telling the AI what to do, extract the key features of the claim, but we're also giving an example of what we consider a good output to be. So if we're inputting a particular claim, we're telling the AI that we want it to output those key features. So using examples can be extremely helpful for getting the AI to be customized to output in the way that you want, to your unique style. Tip number 4 is to give Solve a role. And this is kind of interesting. It turns out that what's called role prompting, so telling the AI that it's got a specific role, can have a massive impact on the accuracy, tone, and focus of the AI's output. So even something as simple as at the beginning of a prompt saying something like, you are a senior patent attorney specializing in software patents, can have a big impact on the AI's output. And generally speaking, the more specific the role that you can give the AI, the better you can anticipate the output to be. And there's an experiment, you can go into any AI system, Solve included, and you can try out different roles, and you're going to see how that then yields different outputs with the same content. So on the example, you can see a sort of generic role where we're saying, you are a patent attorney, review this office action and suggest arguments to overcome the rejection. So pretty non-specific role, better than nothing though. Whereas on the right, you can see that we've got a very context-rich role that we're giving the AI. So telling the AI, you are preparing a response to an office action for a medical device, a medical device client whose FDA clearance depends on this patent. So we're telling the AI what the stakes are. We're telling the AI that the examiner in Art Unit 3791 tends to favor functional claim language. So we're giving the context of the examiner as well. And then we're also saying that our priority is claim one. We can narrow the dependent claims if needed. So we're also giving the strategy. So being very specific and giving the AI lots of context on what exactly its role is with respect to this particular task. And that's going to end up with our output being much better, adhering to what we're looking for. 2 more tips before I let you see the product and Solve at work. Tip number 5 is to let Solve think with chain of thought. Chain of thought sounds like a fancy thing. It's a particular method of prompting AI models. But all it means is we're telling Solve to think before it answers, just literally typing in think before you answer into your prompt. And this can really help for improving accuracy for complex tasks. So you say think step by step at the beginning. And if possible, it's even better if you can provide explicit reasoning steps. So if you've got a certain algorithm that you use in your head internally, for example, how you might think about looking at a disclosure and looking at prior art and then thinking about how you might be drafting out a set of claims, for example, or how you might be building out a specification, explicitly putting down those reasoning steps in your prompts can be extremely helpful for the AI. And again, we should be using our XML tags to enable the AI to see exactly where we're seeing the thinking. And it can actually output, when it's outputting, it can separate its thinking in XML tags from the actual final concluded output. So as I say, this is super useful for complex tasks like, for example, claim construction, prior analysis, drafting validity opinions, and so on. So you can see this at work here. On the left-hand side, we're asking the AI, does the prior art reference anticipate claim 1 under 102? So we're not using any chain of thought. Compare that to the right-hand side, where we're telling the AI to think step by step. So we're asking the AI, does the prior art anticipate claim 1? And then we're telling the AI, just by writing it in our prompt, think this through step by step. Step 1, list each limitation in claim 1. Step 2, for each of those limitations, find the corresponding disclosure. Step 3, note any gaps or differences. And then step 4, give your conclusion. So we're telling the AI the exact reasoning steps, and this can massively help. You can then see the AI outputs the actual thinking that it went through. And because the way these models work, they don't just one-shot the response, they actually iteratively build up the response. It's very useful to have this thinking in the AI's output context for this final answer that it's outputting. So chain of thought is a fancy word, basically telling the AI to think through step by step. Last one now, but this is the final tip, and it really encompasses all the stuff that we've talked about so far. But this is to use prompt templates. So you guys have a huge amount of technical knowledge in the patent domain and so on that you're working in, and you're going through this process of iterating on these prompts. It's very important that you can then save those prompts and then share and collaborate on them with your colleagues. So once you've gone through that iteration process of your proprietary prompts, firstly, you can separate your prompts into fixed content. So things like your instructions, the role, the examples, the formatting requirements, and so on, from the content that might vary from case to case. So things like, placeholders for certain documents and so on. Not all the office actions are going to be the same. So clearly the actual office action you're analyzing is going to be a variable, but the fixed content is going to be some of those roles, those instructions, and so on that we've been through. Then you can save your template to your own proprietary library of custom instructions. Crucially, because this is how we're customizing the AI, and often the way in which you want to customize the AI varies for different clients, technology fields, jurisdictions, and so on, it's very useful to be able to label your instructions for those different clients, jurisdictions, technology fields, or however it is you want to segment all these instructions. And then finally, and this is where we see a lot of value coming from AI, you can share and collaborate on these custom instructions with your colleagues. When we do full rollouts at firms, we often find that you'll get sort of 5-10% of the firm becoming power users of AI, and they put in a lot of time into iterating on their prompts. Now, of course, there is a bit of a learning curve using AI to go through that process. But once you've done it and you've saved it to your prompt library, you'll just be able to load in that prompt in the future, reuse it. And that's where you start getting this flywheel effect of ROI on using AI. And also you'll be able to share it with the 90% of the rest of your firm. And you can control editing, viewing permissions, and so on. But they'll be able to leverage all of that work that you've put in. So you can see this on the left-hand side. Imagine if you're building up a set of pharma prompts, software prompts, and so on. You're segmenting these by art unit and jurisdiction and so on. And then on the right-hand side, you're able to then load that in. You're able to load in all those different XML tags, the different variables, and so on. And this is going to lead to 4 key advantages if you start building out these prompt templates and collaborating on them. Firstly, obviously, you build it once, you can then keep reusing it. Secondly, once you've got these proprietary templates that you know are going to be high quality for a particular client, you can actually share and collaborate on those with the rest of your firm. And that enforces firm-wide best practices. So you can actually get a much higher quality and uniform drafting style for different parts of your work by using AI. Thirdly, it allows you to onboard new associates much faster because they're now getting access to all of these proprietary prompts and so on that you've spent time iterating on, and so they can understand straight out of the box what it is that you're looking for. And then the fourth thing, and this is really the most important and high value thing, but it enables you to actually customize all these different drafting styles and these AI models for specific clients, jurisdictions, technology fields, different workflows, and so on. So collaboration on prompts, templates, libraries, and so on is really how you can realize a lot of ROI on AI for your organization. So to wrap all that up, if you combine first your knowledge, and then second, this talk, this sort of expert prompting, with our expert software, and we spend all of our time using AI PhD research, patent attorneys, and so on to do all this other stuff. AI is not just about prompt engineering. Prompt engineering unlocks a huge amount of value, but there are all these other things you need to do to enable it to work really well for patent-specific use cases. Things like automatic prompt enhancement, compaction, RAG, structuring inputs and outputs, patent-specific evals and fine-tuned models, what are called sub-agent architectures and algorithms, tool use, even UI and UX. All these things are things that using a patent-specific software package like Solve Intelligence can help you with. But you combine that with your expert knowledge and with the expert prompt engineering, you're going to be yielding the best quality patent-specific output with the greatest efficiency gains and subsequently the highest ROI. So hopefully that wasn't too boring, but now we're going to hop into the demo. So I'm going to hand over to Jonathan, who's a partner at Faegre Drinker, who's a user of Solve Intelligence, and also one of our founding members here, Justin, who's a fully qualified US patent attorney, and we can see how you can use some of these prompt engineering practices in practice inside Solve Intelligence for various patent workflows. So yeah, I'll hand over to Justin now.
Sure. And while you guys are getting your screen ready here, let me just post the next poll question here, which is more of an interesting question. Just want to hear from you about whether or not you have permission to be using AI. Is it encouraged? Do you have permission across the board? Do you have permission in some cases, that sort of thing? But gentlemen, go ahead while that poll question goes live.
Thanks, Gene. So yeah, I can kind of jump into it and show you our platform and how we think about prompt engineering when we build out our products. So for those of you not familiar with Solve, I'll kind of provide a quick overview real quick. So at the top left, you can see all the products that we offer. So we offer an invention harvesting tool that helps simplify invention disclosure submissions for in-house counsel as well as outside counsel and inventors. Then we also have a drafting product that helps draft full utility applications, which is where I'll spend most of the time today. And then we also have a prosecution product that help prepare office action responses, and then a charts product that helps prepare charts. So it helps prepare invalidity charts, firm to operate charts, SEP charts, and helps analyze documents in general. And we'll kind of walk through prosecution and charts at the very end. So if we're just within the drafting product here, we have things organized by workspaces up top and projects here. Workspaces typically people create per client, and then projects is just simply for a matter. So I have 2 projects here that I've already created for the interest of time. So I've uploaded some invention disclosure material in this particular project, as well as a prior art document. And then you can add additional documents into a particular project space, and everything that you input into a project space is essentially going to be used by the AI when drafting the patent application. So when you create a patent application, you can select a template that you've created within Solve. And like Chris mentioned, we have a template or Solve library of templates that users can use, but then you can also collaborate and build out these templates. And what's really cool is we partner with firms to build these out as well. And I don't know if Jonathan, if you have any experience with this, but we often, partner with firms, and we find that firms actually.
Did I lose audio for him, or?
I lost it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want so Justin, we're not hearing you at the moment.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Just let me know if it ever drops off again.
Yep.
Okay, great. So here I have selected a template already, and this is where you can kind of see what a template looks like within our platform. So the template really consists of two types of text. So one is boilerplate text that you might have built in. So this might be boilerplate text at the beginning of sections, headings, but then the other type of text are these AI sections. So each one of these, when you click them, you'll see two things happen. One, a button here to click to draft that section of the application. Second, on the right-hand side, you can see a place where you can input additional instructions or prompts for how to draft that particular section of the application. So here, I could just simply input something in natural language, like keep the title concise, i.e. 3 to 5 words. But like Chris mentioned, try to keep things direct and concise. And then the AI will use any additional prompts or instructions that you've inputted on the right-hand side to draft those sections of the application. And all of these prompts you can save again within the templates portion of the platform and share and collaborate on those for different practice areas, different clients within a firm or organization. Now, each one of these, if you've input instructions over there, how we kind of simplify prompt engineering a bit is we have an enhance button. So it takes a prompt that you've maybe initially inputted and then tries to apply, best practices to build out that prompt to make it, much more robust prompt, which you can always edit and modify, and then use that prompt or enhanced prompt to continue drafting the application like we see here. And I know there was a question in the chat about, specifically referring to documents, not only text, and you can do that within our platform. So within these prompts or the sections that you input instructions on the right-hand side, you can specifically refer to documents within your project space or within the platform by just typing at. So here I can refer to any prior art documents, for example, within my project space on the left-hand side. Great. So each one of these sections you can also delete, which I can do real quick and continue drafting from there. So next I can jump down to the claims, draft the claims. You can configure a bit more on the right-hand side. So in addition to prompts, which again, you can input for the claims, you can also configure additional things and switch between different jurisdictions based on the jurisdiction that you're drafting for. So here we can output or get an initial set of claims. But then you can also use AI and prompting to modify or edit any of the content as you draft, which I'll do in just a second when it comes to drafting a claim set. All right.
One thing I'll add here, Justin.
Yeah.
I think the way that I've used this tool is I've used my current process that I typically used when drafting an application without AI. So I know a lot of practitioners will draft their claims, get their figures ready, and everything like that. And I've found that, for example, if you get the claims ready either through the tool or inserting your own claims, that it really helps the models to understand the invention because you're distilling all of that information down for the AI to then go back and it continues to analyze everything that you put into the tool, which then guides the rest of the drafting of the application when you're feeding the right information into the tool. And I think our processes that we're typically using as practitioners lent to that because it's the way that we think. A lot of times the AI will think in a similar stepwise fashion if you, like Chris was saying, provide that context into it.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Jonathan. So just kind of building off of that, I'll mention one or two things. So within the invention disclosure document, we think about things like that as well. So build out tools to help kind of build out the invention disclosure. So you can kind of build out the invention disclosure there, but then we also keep the product quite flexible. So it really fits within any workflow. And here I've kind of drafted a claim set by just clicking and drafting that AI section, but you can certainly just delete that AI section and then just copy and paste a claim set that you've drafted outside of the product. Awesome. So Now I'll kind of like jump into how you can use AI and prompting to edit or build on an application. So we have a claim set here. Uh, Within our products, you can click on this edit document tool, which allows the AI to edit the documents with instructions that I provided. So I could input something like, you know, revise claim one to be broader and revise the other claims appropriately. Something like that. And since that edit tool is on, it will take that initial instruction and then kind of think about edits that it would like to make to the application, which we'll see in just a second. Here I've kept the prompt and the instruction a little bit broad, so I could have always have specified exactly how I wanted the claim to be broadened out. But just based on this instruction, we can kind of see how it would edit the claim and then the rest of the claims.
And just to
And
call out, we had James Whistle in the chat posted, can you cover iterating if the first output is imperfect, particularly in the claims? And that's exactly what Justin's doing. He's getting the AI to go in and retrospectively update given his new instructions, and it can all be done in track changes.
yeah. Yeah, so whenever the AI is making edits to the document, whether it's using the edit tool or inline, which I can show later on, it's always doing it in track changes. So you'll see the exact edits that it's making. And then just like you would in Word, you can accept or reject any of the edits.
And while we're going through here and waiting for this here, there was another question there about corporate in-house teams using this tool. Do you have anything you want to say about that, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned in one of the slides that we're selling into over 400 IP teams. 60% of those are outside counsel law firms, but 40% are in-house teams. In-house teams use our software for a variety of workflows. Some of them will do a lot of prep and pros in-house, for example. A lot of them will actually use it for things like reviewing, which I know Justin is going to get to in a moment. So reviewing drafts that have been sent to them by their outside counsel, making sure that it adheres to all of your custom stylistic requirements. You can actually customize the review, and Justin's going to show that in a moment. You can share and collaborate on these templates. You can share all of this stuff live inside the editor as well. So yeah, a lot of collaboration functionality, and 40% of our customers are in-house. So we actually build for both.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So when it comes to the prompts that you can add on the right-hand side, the other thing I'll mention is we have a team of IP attorneys that help build out these prompts. And if you just click this library icon, you can see a lot of the prompts that we've built out in-house in our Solve library. But we also work with firms and in-house teams to build out proprietary libraries for different clients that they're working on or technology areas. So you can, have and share within your organization all of these prompts, and you can pick and choose from them. And then once I've chosen one of those off-the-shelf prompts, you can kind of see here that it includes certain things like XML tags and a bit more robust prompting on the right-hand side. But you can, of course, always jump in and edit any of that as well. And then we can continue drafting the application just like we were doing before. Click to draft. And then the one section that's different than the rest is the detail description. So the detail description, instead of click to draft, and I'll just finish the brief description of the figures first. But instead of click to draft and it drafting an entire detailed description, it's click to build a plan, which opens up this second window where essentially you work with AI to build out a structure or outline for your detailed description. So here again, you can build out particular instructions or prompts to feed to the AI to build out the outline for the detailed description. We have some simple suggestions always, and I know this is one of Jonathan's favorite parts of the product, and he's kind of built out specific prompts when it comes to the detailed description. So I'll let him kind of touch upon that if he has anything to say there.
Yeah, this is absolutely my number one favorite feature in this product. And I think it hits on what Chris spoke about through his slides. Like this module really is telling the AI to think before it spits everything out. So it's giving you the opportunity to give like a high level outline of how you would like your application structured. And then it takes iterative steps for saying, okay, we've pulled out this information. If you like to draft figure by figure, or if you like to draft element number by element number, whatever your style is, you can provide that context to it. And then it creates this outline for the rest of your document. So it's taking those intermediate steps to really help you structure the application the way that you like it. So I love this section. I think Justin will show you a lot of things here where you can modify these sections to make sure you're really hammering in on the concepts that you want. You can see here under section 1, it has figure labels, element labels. All of those are adjustable, so you're really honing in on what's important for these sections, which I think the way my understanding is that the tool is helping you build a prompt for the AI that is super specific. It's laying out exactly the things that you want to talk about. It's giving examples. It's doing all of those prompt engineering steps that Chris was teaching us about, and it's automatically building it into what will then be the output of this module.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just like Jonathan said, this kind of goes along with the chain of thought. So first is kind of thinking about how it wants to build out the structure plan for its detailed description, and then starts to tag certain things like the figures it plans to cover, the elements of those figures, the particular claim elements that are relevant to this particular subsection of the detailed description. And then you can, of course, modify any one of those manually, but then you can also use AI on the right-hand side to modify it. So I could always just say like add an intro section, and it will take that instruction and then modify the plan on the left-hand side, in this case, by adding an intro section to the very beginning. And you can go back and forth with AI, iterate on this plan, but then whenever it gets to the point that you're happy with, you can just insert it, and then it'll insert those subsections here within the document. And you can always go back and, expand on or build on the plan if you need to. But then from here, it's very similar where it's click to draft, and there's the prompt here that again, you can iterate and expand on as you're drafting. So very much kind of back and forth interactive approach with AI. So maybe draft one or two more of these. And then the one other thing I'll show is the inline tool. So we use chat to edit the content of the application. So we revise the claims. But as you're drafting, you can also use inline. And by inline, I mean right here, you can press Command or Control K or this AI button to bring up the inline menu. And then you can instruct or prompt the AI to add to the application or revise certain portions of the application. So I could always jump in here and say, add a paragraph discussing materials, the gas, full membrane, and then supplement the disclosure in that way. Great. So the one other thing I'll show before jumping into review is the figure functionality that we have, because you can also use prompts to build out your figures. So I've already uploaded a few figures here, but similar to the detailed description plan, we have a figure builder. So if I open that up, it'll open up our figure editing functionality and builder, and all the figures of your application will appear on the left-hand side. But then you can also use chat or AI to generate or edit figures. So I could always jump in here and say, generate a figure, or maybe I'll say generate figure for is a flow chart that covers the method claims. And touching upon that chain of thought aspect, we do build chat as well as these builders in a way that if the AI ever thinks that it needs additional information and kind of thinks about the edits that it wants to make, it'll ask that to the user. So it might build out a first plan like you see here for figure 4, and then ask for input from the user if that looks good or whether there's additional information it would need. But then I can just say yes, plan looks good. Please generate figure. And then from there, it will generate or build out this figure 4. So this is a relatively new feature that we've added into the product. I don't know if Jonathan's had a chance to test it out, um,
Yes,
but
it's really great. I think this ties into some of the questions that we have coming in about templates too. Um, Solve does provide general templates that you can use that are very good. I've found in my own practice that, as Chris was mentioning, I have clients that have specific needs for the way that they like their applications put together, whether it's like figure one, we want the super broad image of what the device looks like, or we really want the inventive aspect in figure one. And you can create prompts for the figures, their detailed description that are specific to organization or client or reviewing attorneys' preferences, and share those amongst yourselves. So both of those are things that the tool is capable of. And Solve does a great job of helping you set you up for success, either in helping you understand how to make those prompts and templates or working with you side by side to make those templates that work for your organization.
thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, so here we have a figure four that was generated, and you can, of course, modify any of the content within the figure or use AI to further edit the content.
I'll just mention one other thing I love about the figures too. You'll see, oh, it just popped away, but they have tags for all of the element numbers, and then at the very bottom, there's a way to modify what figures uh, exactly right there, what's assigned to the figures, how many times you're seeing certain elements in other figures, so you're kind of coalescing all of that information together. And again, like I said, if you do this work up front, I think the AI does a very good job of pulling all of that upfront work that you're doing and putting it into the detailed description or the claims, whatever it is, because you're having consistent labels for all of your element numbers. It is able to then go look at your figures and see what word you use to describe, for example, um, a channel. And then it looks at your figure, it sees that you have a channel labeled on there, and then it can understand the channel within the context of the rest of the device. So really, I think this is what Chris talked about earlier, giving it very specific instructions. All of these building modules that Solve provides is helping give the context, it's helping that give more specific instructions just within the workflows. So you're not relying just on your own prompt engineering skills, but it's helping you leverage what's already there within their systems to build better prompts.
Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, so if I'll switch over to additional area where prompting becomes important within our product is the review functionality. So in addition to AI instructions, which helps with instructing the AI how to draft the application, you can also build out prompts and proprietary prompts for the review functionality. So you can build those out, specific and custom to your firm or in-house teams, and how specifically they want their applications to be drafted. Or if you are in-house teams, making sure that you do, quality assessments of your applications. So how this works is, say, for example, you have an application that you got back from a colleague, or a client has comments within it or track changes. I could first create a new version for this particular application. So, and I'll kind of switch over. I think it's this one, but so create a new version here, version two, and then upload that particular specification. And we do have back and forth compatibility with Word, so all those comments and track changes will import, and then I can accept or reject any one of those. But then when it comes to the comments, we have AI functionality built in with those. So we can just resolve any one of those comments by clicking this AI button. It will take that. And then we have under the hood prompting to assist with taking that comment as well as the content and context of the application, and then suggesting edits to the application based off of, that context. So here you see that it's taken that comment and then revised the title according to the comment that you see here. And then I can jump over to the review functionality after that. So when we go to review, each one of these, you can build out your own prompts for a review that you want the AI to do of the application. So here's one specifically related to antecedent basis. We have additional ones dealing with element labels and template compliance, but we again help build these review prompts out for organizations and firms. And you can run each one of these individually. You can also run them all at once. But when I click run for each one of these, two things I'll point out. One is if you have annotate document on, it will start to, review the document and then comment on any portions of the application where it thinks needs to be revised based off of that review and that prompt. But then also it will provide its reasoning and logic within this results and reasoning section, so you can see the exact steps that the AI is taking when making those edits. So if I go over to the template or the AI drafting instructions tab, you'll see that I have some instructions already built within my template about keeping the background concise, for example. So when I ran that review dealing with template compliance and whether this application complies with the template that I've built within Solve, you'll see it'll flag certain things, like the background, that it is larger than 2 paragraphs. But you can build out these review templates and prompts how you see fit for particular clients. And we see this very popular with in-house teams as well. And then you can export those and send those along to a colleague to review and revise, but you can always resolve any of those with AI as well within the product. Great. So with the remaining time, I'll kind of jump over to prosecution and charts and just quickly show how those modules are built out. So within prosecution, I know there's one question in chat dealing with, the type of documents that you can input. So you can input docx, XML files, but you can input PDF files, and we've hooked up the USPTO database, so you can always just pull from the USPTO. So you can just input patent application number and then automatically pull the file wrapper and any documents from the USPTO. So that's what we have there. And then after you've added in the documents from the file wrapper, on the right-hand side, those are OCR, viewable documents. And then you can work with AI, again, prompting the AI how to draft the office action response. And to kind of assist you with that, we've built out certain tools like a rejection chart that goes through claim element by claim element, maps exactly what the examiner is relying upon for each rejection. But then you can see certain areas where the AI has done analysis and disagrees with a particular portion of the rejection. And then you can use that to prompt or instruct the AI to draft the portion of the response. So I can do that real quick with maybe one of the claim objections or one of the rejections. So I could always jump in here and iterate back and forth with AI and say, how would you suggest overcoming claim rejection? And again, kind of going through chain of thought, logical process of building on the AI's outputs and reviewing it, and then instructing AI to make that claim amendment. And after instructing it to do so, when I have the edit tool on, it will go through and start to make the claim or the claim amendments. And then we could move on to drafting the portion of the remarks. So there we see the claim amendment. I can accept that claim amendment and then move on to drafting the remarks section. So that's kind of how you can use AI and prompt AI to assist with office action responses within our platform.
One thing,
And
Justin,
then, yeah,
that I love about the way that the system works is you can see the attorney is always in control of what's going on. Nothing's happening within the document that you're not aware of. You have the prompt on the right that really is facilitating everything that happens, and you can see the logic and the thought process and why things are happening the way it is. And then once it even puts it in the document, you're aware of everything that's put in the document or changed within the document. So I know that's a big concern that we had as we were testing out different tools is how do we know what the AI is actually doing? And this the panel setup with the track changes and everything that you see happening there really gave us a sense of security on what's going in, what the AI is doing and what's being put into the final product.
Yeah. So when we build our products and platform, we really think about that. So building a product that's a co-pilot system for attorneys, but then always being transparent with exactly what the AI is citing or relying upon, as well as what it's editing within the document at all points. Great. And with the last maybe 2 minutes, I'll quickly touch upon charts. So the same fundamental principle, when it comes to templates and instructions and prompts apply to charts as well. So we have particular templates built out for certain types of invalidity charts, freedom to operate clearance charts. Here, I have one of our 102 invalidity charts. So each one of these columns essentially has prompt on the right-hand side. So I can click and you'll see the prompts. And within these prompts, you can refer to other columns. You can also refer to other documents or documents within the Files tab. So here I've uploaded a patent, the particular patent I'm trying to invalidate, as well as a prior art document. And we have patent databases that you can easily, pull from those, as well as, pulling in file wrappers to do certain things like claim construction analyses. But essentially, when you have these columns built out or you use a template, you can, just click run and it will take that prompt and then start to build out that particular column. And then you can iterate on those prompts or iterate on the cells or columns that it produces to produce the invalidity chart in this case. And just touching upon, the concept that Jonathan mentioned when it comes to like transparency. So it'll always kind of be showing its logic here. So you can see the exact documents that it's reading, as well as, steps that it's taking when producing these cells and columns. And then you can always turn on citations. So we'll always, produce citations specifically to the files and the documents that it's relying upon when generating these cells. So if I just go to the claim construction column and click generate there, I do have the include citations toggle on. And in this case, it will, output citations for all the content that it generates or outputs in these particular cells. Great. So that was a quick overview of the product, and I'll kind of transfer it back to Gene.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, Justin and Jonathan. Thank you for walking through that. I thought that was fascinating. I've really enjoyed this webinar. I think it's been very enlightening for a lot of different reasons. What I'd like to do is I'm going to launch the last poll question, which really is simply just, are you interested in getting a free trial? If yes, let us know. We'll make sure that we hook you up with Chris, Justin, and their team. I think we got many of the questions that you all submitted in the Q&A box. I knew a lot of them were going to come up naturally through the presentation answered. Anybody that did not get an answer, we'll make sure that we pass those questions around both in the chat, which has been very active. Thank you for that. And in the Q&A box. So we'll get everybody answers to this. But we're right here at time, but I'd like to just maybe give everybody one opportunity, final thoughts, rapid fire. Jonathan, we can start with you. What's your takeaway message to the audience today?
Yes, I agree with what Chris said. Really, 2026 for me is going to be a developing year in really understanding how I need to interact with the AI to get a better output. We have a lot of natural language that we can use, but there is a completely separate level of quality of output that I can get by structuring my prompts appropriately.
Mhm. Great. Thanks. Justin, your final thought for today.
Yeah, just building off of what Jonathan mentioned, I think for 2026 for us is partnering with firms to help and assist with building out templates and prompts and things like that.
Great. Thanks. And Chris, the final word today goes to you. What is your takeaway message?
Well, thank you everyone for sitting through that. And if you are interested in learning a little bit more and trying out Solve for free, please do fill out our contact form. You just go to solveintelligence.com/contact us, or just go to our website and you'll see the button there. But thank you so much. And you can also email us directly at partnerships@solveintelligence.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And thank you in the audience, as always, for spending a portion of your day with us today. We look forward to hopefully seeing you again. Good luck on your AI journey, but that's all we have for today. And we'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.